This episode of the EV Resource Podcast is brought to you by Titan Auto and Tire. Titan has some of the very few independent auto repair shops in Central Virginia that are qualified to work on EVs and hybrids. And from hybrids to Hummers, they fix everything. For more information and to schedule an appointment for your vehicle, go to TitanAutoTire.com. Coming up this week, a major announcement from Tesla and the White House. Hyundai starts an EV subscription service. Ford increases their investment in EVs, and much more. Well, hello, friends, and welcome to episode 142 of the EV Resource Podcast. I'm Zach Hurst, and each week I bring you the latest EV news, information, and interviews with industry experts. Wow, what a week it has been. For me personally, it's kind of really a blur. I've had two great conversations that will be future podcast episodes. The first was with Montu Kokar, the CEO of New Cap Industries and CEO of Electric Performance, and also a professional champion race car driver, Blake Fuller. That conversation was awesome, and what we talked about could literally be the difference between life and death for EV owners. So I am going to rush and get that one out as soon as possible because I definitely want to make sure you can hear it. And the second conversation was the one I had told you all about. I spoke with Michael Benson from Command Consulting about the electrification of municipal fleets while incorporating microgrids, battery backup, and EV charging. And he really shared some valuable information with tips on how to take action in your local community. I cannot wait to get that one out to you as well. And then last Saturday was the Virginia International Auto Show, so I will share a little bit about that at the end of the news segment. But before we get to that, I have 8 of the top news stories from the week. Earlier this week, the Biden-Harris administration unveiled its most recent plans designed to establish reliable, user-friendly electric vehicle charging infrastructure with the ultimate goal of electrifying the iconic American road trip. The bipartisan infrastructure law proposed by President Biden includes significant investments of $7.5 billion towards EV charging infrastructure, $10 billion towards clean transportation, and over $7 billion towards EV battery components, critical minerals, and materials. These flagship initiatives complement the Inflation Reduction Act's pivotal backing for advanced batteries and newly enhanced tax credits that encourage the purchase of EVs and the establishment of charging infrastructure installations. Additionally, dozens of other federal incentives have been created to promote domestic manufacturing and construct a national network of EV charging. Growing the network of electric vehicle chargers along American highways and in local communities is a necessary step to meet the goal of having EVs make up 50% of all new car sales by 2030. Additionally, this proposal by the administration will advance a strategy for further development of the domestic electric vehicle and EV charging industries while simultaneously creating well-paying employment opportunities in manufacturing and installation, all of which contribute to the United States achieving net zero emissions by 2050 with limited reliance on foreign entities. After meeting with Tesla's CEO Elon Musk last month, the administration announced that they have reached an agreement with the company to make a portion of the Supercharger network available for non-Tesla vehicles in exchange for a cut of the total funding available. Stuart Anderson, head of Iowa's Transportation Development Division, told Reuters, quote, "We do understand that Tesla is looking to tweak their system to be more open access. So if they do reach that point and meet those eligibility requirements, they certainly will be eligible for funding," end quote. As of the end of last year, there were a total of 11,479 non-Tesla DC fast chargers installed across the country, and 17,248 Tesla superchargers. However, not all of Tesla's network will be available to every electric vehicle. The deal between Tesla and the administration resulted in Tesla agreeing to open up 3,500 new or existing superchargers to non-Tesla customers and double the total count of supercharger stalls by the end of 2024. They also agreed to unlock Tesla destination chargers, but level 2 charging is not really that important outside of your home. It is at times, so don't at me on that one. Like, work with me on this, okay? I'm focused on the fast charging aspect of it. The impact for non-Tesla vehicles likely will be very minimal. And according to executive analysts Carl Brauer at iccars.com, he said, quote, "It's worth noting that Tesla's supercharger network is both vast and advanced, with more level 3 fast chargers than any other EV charging network, including Electrify America and ChargePoint combined. If Tesla opened its entire network to non-Tesla vehicles, it would immediately and substantially improve the EV infrastructure. Tesla could more than double the number of national fast chargers available to electric vehicle drivers if the entire network was opened up. But Tesla has only committed to 3,500 level 3 chargers becoming available by the end of 2024, or about 20% of its fast charging network. Of course, every little bit counts when trying to solve the EV infrastructure problem, but it's disappointing to see this little bit coming from the nation's largest fast charging network," end quote. And I tend to agree with Carl Brauer in this case. It would be nice for non-Tesla owners to have access to the entire Tesla supercharging network, not just 3,500 stalls. But the likely reason that Tesla decided not to open the entire supercharger network, at least initially, like right now with this current plan, is, I think, the expected effect to existing and future Tesla owners. Currently, the existing supercharger network already sees very heavy usage, especially during holidays, with demand for charging sometimes exceeding the number of stalls available, and you end up having a line of Teslas waiting to charge. Opening the supercharger network to all electric vehicles from any manufacturer would also eliminate one of the biggest advantages that Tesla has over its competitors, as the reliability of non-Tesla fast charging networks can be very finicky and frustrating, as I mentioned on last week's episode. And Tesla's charging experience is smooth and usually flawless. Many people point this out as reasons to buy Tesla vehicles over other competitors. Another potential reason behind the decision is, I think, maybe the cost and time associated with retrofitting the Magic Dock CCS adapter to every single supercharger station. That could be more than the company wants to take on at the moment. So who knows? What we do know is that Tesla has a strong incentive to make changes if they want to have access to any part of that $7.5 billion in funding. The exact amount of funding that Tesla will receive from the program was not disclosed by the company or by the White House. However, it is likely to be substantial. Next, Hyundai is getting creative with ways of putting their vehicles in the hands of more drivers. At the 2023 Chicago Auto Show earlier this month, Hyundai Motor America and Hyundai Capital America unveiled their latest initiative, the Evolve Plus electric vehicle subscription service. This program offers a cost-effective and flexible solution for customers who desire to drive Hyundai's latest electric vehicles but are not ready to commit to a long-term lease or purchase. The Evolve Plus program is a convenient month-to-month electric vehicle subscription service that provides comprehensive coverage, including insurance, maintenance, registration, and roadside assistance. This starts at just $699 a month for the Kona Electric and $899 a month for the Ioniq 5. Subscribers can enjoy up to 1,000 miles without any long-term commitment and have the flexibility to cancel their subscription at any time during the period. Unlike other subscription services that require a minimum commitment of 3 to 5 months, the Evolve Plus program offers greater flexibility for its subscribers. Currently, the service is available at select dealerships in 6 states, with plans to expand to additional locations by the end of the year. The program's app enables customers to locate dealerships where the service is available. Olabisi Boyle, Vice President of Product Planning and Mobility Strategy for Hyundai Motor North America, said, quote, "With no paperwork, no commitment, and no long-term loan, Evolve Plus is an optimal solution for the EV-curious car shopper. We've prioritized simplicity and flexibility with the subscription process, allowing customers to place orders and renew on their own terms, on their own time, all via smartphone. We are hoping that by offering a subscription-based option, we will increase EV adoption and awareness as customers transition into an EV future," end quote. There are numerous reasons why customers may require a car for a brief period, such as snowbirds who need a car at their winter residence, college students who return home for the summer, or employees on temporary work assignments, among other scenarios. Gary Rome, president of Gary Rome Auto Group and the Gary Rome Hyundai, which is an Evolve Plus dealership, said, quote, "As we know, living with an EV is really an educational process. Evolve Plus gives our customers the opportunity to try an electric vehicle and see if it's right for their lifestyle. Evolve Plus makes it really easy for a consumer to drive an EV in a more flexible way." End quote. The Evolve Plus program is a comprehensive and convenient solution providing a turnkey package that is priced competitively when compared to traditional leasing or purchasing options. Compared to daily car rentals, Evolve Plus is up to half as expensive. If subscribers enjoy the experience and want to commit to long-term options, the Hyundai dealer can then offer the option to lease or purchase the vehicle. This program is something that provides consumers with a distinct digital buying experience, allowing them to use the custom app to select their preferred vehicle and payment terms before ever even walking onto the dealership to pick it up. This means it's stress-free and a no haggling process, which would offer a seamless delivery experience for customers. It is essential to note that Hyundai Motor America has collaborated with its dealers to establish this Evolve Plus program. The collaboration offers subscribers the added advantage of working with reputable local businesses that are accountable for the vehicle's initial condition and maintenance. As this program expands to more locations, it will really be interesting to see how it impacts the EV subscription market and provides more consumers with a more convenient way to drive an electric vehicle. As the youngest generation gets up to age, I think this will become something that is much more attractive. Usually, typically, the culture in at least America is that we want to own everything. It's all about ownership. But I've noticed trends like this, having subscriptions for services, which I've talked about before. But more importantly, owning a car isn't as important to a lot of people now as having access to transportation. And if you consider that the insurance, maintenance, registration, and roadside assistance are all included with the price, even that $900 a month for the Ioniq 5, I would actually challenge anybody to go out there and price the car payment and then add the insurance, maybe maintenance, because obviously EVs don't require a whole lot, but registration, roadside assistance, all of that, add that together and see how close to that $900 a month it actually is to pay for all those things. And then if it doesn't add up to 900, and I don't know, I haven't done the math, consider that this is easy. It's very flexible. So you could do it for 1 month. You could do it for 30 months. I mean, who knows? Well, actually, if you did it for that long, you'd probably want to just lease it or buy it. But still, I think this is a good idea, and I really would like to see more of this from other automakers as well. Next, and it looks like if things keep going this way, I'm not going to hit that 30-minute mark. So we will probably run a little bit longer with this episode. So hopefully that's okay for all of you. But next, Mercedes-Benz has announced their plan to, quote, systematically electrify all model series, end quote. Their latest vehicle, an update to the eSprinter van, boosts improved range and charging. Produced in both North America and Europe, this van is designed to be a true global vehicle and will soon be available in around 60 markets globally, helping Mercedes-Benz reinforce their position in the light commercial vehicle segment worldwide. The eSprinter is packed with cutting-edge technology and is built on a new 3-module concept, which offers unparalleled flexibility in the development and design of different conversions and superstructures. This modular approach allows for the integration of features that were only previously available in conventionally powered Sprinter van models. The first section is the front module, which this features a uniform design that houses all of the high voltage components like your AC charger, power inverter, yada, 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 all of that stuff. This module can be used across all of the vehicle variants, regardless of the wheelbase or battery size. The second section contains the high voltage battery and is located in the underbody to maximize space and optimize weight distribution. That positioning, as I'm sure many of you know, ensures a low center of gravity, which improves handling and driving safety. And the third pillar is the rear module. That includes the electrically driven rear axle and a compact but still powerful electric motor. That rear module is also used across all variants of the eSprinter thanks to a common parts strategy employed in its design. The eSprinter has received a significant investment of approximately 350 million euro from Mercedes-Benz to adapt production in the Charleston, Dusseldorf, and Ludwigsfeld plants. Oh my goodness, that's easy for me to say. Anyway, those three plants, Charleston and two in Germany, around 50 million euro will be invested in each location. This modular design of the eSprinter offers maximum synergies in production, resulting in a significant economies of scale advantage. This streamlined approach in the production process makes the assembly of the eSprinter more efficient and cost-effective, as the production lines will all be the same regardless of geographic location. The launch of the all-new eSprinter will take place in the second half of this year here in North America, where it will be available as a long cargo van with a high roof. We are only getting really one variant of this. It will be equipped with the largest available battery, boasting a usable capacity of 113 kilowatt hours. With a load capacity of 488 cubic feet and a permissible gross vehicle weight of 4.25 tons, the eSprinter is designed to meet the needs of businesses that require spacious, versatile, and sustainable transportation solutions. But let's get into the nitty-gritty and look at the real details here, because that is where things are going to shine for this new updated version of the Sprinter. The company claims the range, which, of course, being based out of Germany, they're using the European WLTP cycle. They say it'll be up to 400 kilometers or 248 miles. Their simulated range based on the WLTP city cycle is expected to be up to 500 kilometers or 310 miles. Currently, there is no EPA range estimate, but it can be safely assumed to be roughly 11% less. And that's just kind of a standard conversion from WLTP to EPA. But even still, this is an upgrade from the original version of the eSprinter, which had a significantly limited range of just 100 kilometers or 60 miles, give or take, 62 miles. And that, I believe, was only available in Europe because, honestly, if they would have brought that here, they wouldn't have sold a single one of them. And I also want to point out the powertrain is brand new for the eSprinter. It uses an electric auxiliary powertrain system that features two main components: the electric rear axle and an efficient motor, both of which are being used for the very first time in a Mercedes-Benz battery electric van. So instead of having the powertrain up front with a long drive shaft running along the center of the bottom of the van, now they've moved all of that to the back. The center is for the battery pack, so they're really optimizing how they're using that space. And it's not heavy either. It's only 286 pounds, and it has two different power levels, 100 or 150 kilowatts of peak output. And it's 295 foot-pounds of torque. So this is something that it's going to have the same power output as like a traditional V6 gas-powered motor. When it comes to the battery and charging, I already mentioned that the largest capacity is the 113 kilowatt hour battery. It is an LFP battery cell chemistry, which of course eliminates cobalt and nickel, but then also that means that it's much less expensive to produce, and you should be able to charge it all the way to 100% and have faster charging. Additionally, active thermal management is going to keep the battery at optimal operating temperatures and extend the battery life. AC charging is set to 9.6 kilowatts, which is pretty speedy. At least here in the US, I think most of the level 2 stations max out at like 7.2. So this will be able to use any level 2 charging station in the US and really max that out. In Europe, I think there are some units that offer up to 20 kilowatts. So obviously it's not set to take advantage of fully of that, but that's okay. Where most people daily, if they're out and about using this on a route and they need to charge, they're going to stop at a DC fast charger. And this has a fast charging speed of 115 kilowatts. That is a peak rate. So most likely, depending on how the charging curve looks, it might not sound like that's a high peak rate at all, and it isn't. But if they can maintain 115 kilowatts for a long period of time over the charging curve, then it shouldn't really impact how long you have to stay plugged in. The company says that it should recharge from 10 to 80% in roughly 42 minutes. So even though that is a slower charge rate, that shouldn't be a significant issue for most customers that are just going to use this and then plug it in overnight. There's no information about pricing yet, but it's probably a safe bet to think that it's going to be roughly $50,000 or so. Next, California is poised to make converting an internal combustion engine vehicle to electric slightly less expensive with a new bill that proposes offering up to $2,000 to owners who convert their gas-guzzling cars to electric ones. Brought forth by Senators Portantino and Newman, California Senate Bill 301 suggests offering a tax rebate of up to $2,000 for individuals who switch their traditional fuel-powered vehicles to zero-emissions vehicles, which can either be battery-powered or hydrogen-powered. The Special Equipment Market Association, better known as SEMA, supports this bill, stating that it will aid small businesses and workers, increase access to zero-emission vehicle ownership, and preserve California's car culture. SEMA President and CEO Mike Spagnola said, quote, "The aftermarket is a leader in innovation, and that includes in zero-emissions technologies. SB 301 creates opportunities for our California-based small businesses, their employees, and consumers to build and have access to affordable zero-emissions vehicles," end quote. The proposed rebate would be in addition to other state-level incentives for electric vehicles, such as Clean Cars for All and up to $7,000 in rebates through the Clean Vehicle Rebate Program. However, the EV conversion fund would be considerably smaller, with a total of only $2 million allocated annually for the aftermarket rebate option. So at first glance, this proposal may seem like a fantastic idea, but like many political proposals, however, the actual impact is likely to be very minimal. When we examine the funding allocation closely, it becomes apparent that only 1,000 EV conversions can be supported with the meager $2 million budget. This figure is so small compared to the number of internal combustion vehicles currently still on California's streets that its effect is going to be almost negligible. Additionally, as anyone who has ever attempted to budget for a conversion project, and I'm sure many of you have already thought this, even if the person performs all the labor themselves, a successful EV conversion requires up to as much as 10 times the amount that the proposed rebate provides. $2,000 towards a project that often costs $20,000 or more is not a considerable sum, especially when considering that the converted vehicle must also achieve a range of at least 100 miles, requiring a decently sized battery pack. And of course, with any EV, the bigger the battery pack, generally the higher the cost. So hopefully in the future, the costs of EV conversions will come down. And until then, we should celebrate maybe this small step towards tackling the larger challenge of reducing carbon emissions. It may be a very tiny step, but it is a step in the right direction. Ford has paused production of the F-150 Lightning due to a potential battery problem. Production and shipping of the F-150 Lightning truck is anticipated to remain halted until at least the end of next week, as the company deals with a potential battery issue that led to a fire on February 4th. In an announcement last Wednesday, the automaker revealed that it does have plans to address the problem and ensure consumer safety. Ford has said that its engineers have likely identified the source of the vehicle fire, and investigations into the problem are anticipated to conclude by the end of next week. Following this, the company plans to make changes to the truck's battery production process, which may take a few weeks then to implement. As production remains on hold, Ford is reassuring customers that F-150 Lightnings that have already been delivered to dealerships and to customers have not been affected by this. So if you have an F-150 already, you don't have to worry. Emma Berg, a spokesperson for Ford, said, quote, "We believe we have identified the root cause of this issue. By the end of next week, we expect to conclude our investigation and apply what we learned to the truck's battery production process," end quote. The fire, which was initially reported by the Detroit Free Press, took place during a pre-delivery quality inspection in a holding lot. The battery in the F-150 Lightning is provided by SK On, a subsidiary of South Korean company SK Innovation. To date, there have been no significant battery problems reported for batteries supplied by SK. Ford does have plans to switch battery chemistries in the F-150 Lightning to a safer lithium iron phosphate battery, but those plans are unrelated and were already in the works long before this incident. No additional information has been provided by the company at this time. But I do want to touch on the LFP battery chemistry that I just hinted at. Ford is investing $3.5 billion to have the first automaker-backed LFP battery plant for electric vehicles here in North America. Ford revealed its plans recently to invest that $3.5 billion to construct the first ever automaker-supported lithium iron phosphate battery factory in the country. This move will give customers access to a new battery chemistry option for Ford's EV lineup, adding to the current lithium-ion battery chemistry technology. They're calling this factory the Blue Oval Battery Park in Michigan. That's where 2,500 people will get to work in 2026 producing LFP batteries for Ford's electric vehicles, and it is the first of its kind here in the US. While other automakers use LFP battery chemistry in their electric vehicles, Ford will be the first to own its own LFP factory here in the country, and it's only a small part of the commitment the company is making to the electric revolution. Ford and its battery tech partners have committed to investing in electric vehicle and battery production here in the US. And since 2019, with this latest $3.5 billion investment included, the total commitment from Ford comes to $17.6 billion. This investment is part of Ford's larger plan to invest over $50 billion towards EVs globally by 2026. The investments made in the next 3 years will create over 18,000 direct jobs in Michigan, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, and Missouri, and over 100,000 indirect jobs, according to an independent study conducted in 2020. These investments mark a significant step towards creating a more sustainable future and increasing job opportunities here in the United States. Bill Ford, Ford's executive chair, said, quote, "We are committed to leading the electric vehicle revolution in America, and that means investing in the technology and jobs that will keep us on the cutting edge of this global transformation in our industry. I am proud that we chose our home state of Michigan for this critical battery production hub." End quote. By diversifying and localizing its battery supply chain in the countries where it produces electric vehicles, Ford aims to make its vehicles more accessible and affordable for customers while also strengthening consumer demand. As part of its Ford Plus plan, the company is striving to achieve an annual production rate of 600,000 EVs worldwide by the end of this year and 2 million globally by the end of 2026. As Ford ramps up its electric vehicle production, the introduction of LFP batteries will enable the company to produce a higher number of electric vehicles and provide a wider range of options to its new EV customers. By offering LFP batteries as an alternative to nickel cobalt manganese or NCM batteries, Ford is providing its customers with the flexibility to choose the battery chemistry that best fits their specific needs. LFP batteries are known for their durability and ability to handle frequent and fast charging, all while utilizing fewer high-demand, high-cost materials. This cost-effective battery produced at scale will assist Ford in maintaining or even lowering the prices of its electric vehicles, making them more affordable for customers. Ford plans to use these LFP batteries to power a range of next-generation EV passenger vehicles and trucks currently in development, with most of them being produced here in the United States. Jim Farley, Ford's president and CEO, said, quote, "Ford's electric vehicle lineup has generated huge demand. To get as many Ford EVs to customers as possible, we are the first automaker to commit to build both NCM and LFP batteries here in the United States. We're delivering on our commitments as we scale LFP and NCM batteries, and thousands, and soon millions, of customers will begin to reap the benefits of Ford EVs with cutting-edge, durable battery technologies that are growing more affordable over time." End quote. As a means to increase production capacity and reduce wait times for customers, Ford plans to introduce LFP batteries on the Mustang Mach-E this year and on the Ford F-150 Lightning in 2024, even before this new battery plant becomes operational. As a part of its strategy, Ford has forged a new agreement with Contemporary Amperex Technology Company Limited, or CATL, who is the world's leading battery manufacturer. The agreement will allow Ford's wholly owned subsidiary to manufacture battery cells using LFP battery cell expertise and services provided by CATL. These LFP battery cells will be integrated by Ford engineers into its EVs as the company looks to expand its battery capacity and technology through various key collaborations. So this is a good sign for Ford. Any company that is going out there and wants to be successful in transitioning to electric vehicles has to take this battery supply chain into account. And by not only bringing it here to the US, where they make the electric vehicles, but also switching to an LFP battery chemistry, both are good moves to help them build much more and ensure the supply of batteries for pretty much forever. Volvo's CEO, Jim Rowan, has expressed concern about moving too slowly into the all-electric future during a recent earnings call. Rowan emphasized that continuing the development of combustion engine vehicles would prove to be a costly mistake in the long run. His statements are in strong contrast to Toyota's position and that of other Japanese automakers, which have argued against committing solely to electric vehicles in favor of a more well-rounded approach. Rowan highlights the growing importance of the electric vehicle market and the need for companies to make a quick, strategic shift towards electrification if they want to see success. He cautioned that investing in both internal combustion engines and battery electric vehicles could potentially result in missed opportunities. In contrast, he noted that Volvo made a bold move to invest in electrification ahead of the impending inflection point. Volvo has already taken significant steps towards an all-electric future, with the company committing to putting 1 million electric cars on the road by 2025 and phasing out combustion engines entirely by 2030. Rowan's comments underscore the need for automakers to focus their resources on the growing electric vehicle market, with many countries around the world setting targets to phase out the production and sale of combustion engine vehicles. Automakers that fail to prioritize electric vehicle development risk being left behind. He said, quote, "The big problem with industry traditions is if you don't invest ahead of the curve, then you miss that inflection point and you're not ready for when the market changes. We are investing ahead of that curve," end quote. The biggest challenge for the company will be growing and maintaining the supply of crucial battery materials. Rowan said, quote, "That's pretty much the only thing that stands in the way of full-scale adoption. We are in discussions with mines and processing factories to get direct access to lithium at more predictable costs," end quote. He also added that technologies like LFP battery chemistries will help lower the cost of EVs even further. So the electric revolution is absolutely happening, and companies like Volvo that are fully committed to the shift are leading the way in the development of electric vehicles. By prioritizing EV development and phasing out combustion engines, Volvo is definitely positioning itself for success in the future of the automotive industry. And lastly for you this week, fans of the Arcimoto Fun Utility Vehicle, or FUV, are rejoicing this week as an announcement from the company was sent out via email and social media channels. In a statement on the 18th, Arcimoto announced that they are resuming production of the FUV and Deliverator models while streamlining vehicle options and making some improvements to the models before deliveries start in the spring. The company said they have updated the steering system to, quote, "deliver improved handling and maneuverability at all speeds while reducing steering effort by more than 40% from prior models," end quote. The 2023 FUV now comes standard with a number of features that were previously listed as additional options. The rear cargo box, phone mount, cup holders, and colored vinyl print are all included with the price of the FUV now. The West Coast half doors, diamond seat covering, and other options are still available. Pricing has also been updated. The FUV now starts at $19,900 and the Deliverator at $25,000. With these updates, they're also making it super easy to reserve and purchase an FUV. They have a new pre-approval process for vehicle financing and only a $250 refundable deposit to reserve your chosen configuration. For more information and to take a closer look at these vehicles, you can go to arcimoto.com. But I would also recommend you look at the many YouTube videos I have published about how freaking fun the FUV is to drive. Okay, so that is it for the news segment this week, but as I promised, I'll tell you a little bit about the Virginia International Auto Show that took place this past weekend. While the Richmond show is smaller than other auto shows like New York and even Washington, D.C., there were a number of EVs represented and even a smaller indoor test track. Interestingly enough, Mercedes-Benz had the largest number of fully electric models shown with the EQS, EQE, and EQB vehicles. Ford brought the Mach-E and F-150 Lightning, Hyundai represented with the Ioniq 5, and Volvo showed off the XC40 and C40 Recharge models, and there were other makes and models there. There was also an EV section to the show. Proterra brought out one of their EV school buses, and there was even a boat brought by the Electrified Marina located in Virginia Beach. Attendees were lined up for rides in EVs around the test track. They chose from the Toyota BZ4X, Nissan Leaf and Ariya, Ford Mach-E GT, the F-150 Lightning, Kia EV6 and Hyundai Ioniq 5, the Volkswagen ID4, and the Volvo C40. The line waiting for this experience was at times really, really long, and I was thrilled to hear and see the interest in electric vehicles. Okay, so we will end things with that. In the interest of time, I am going to skip the EV Resource Hotline segment and the question of the week. As a reminder, last week's question of the week poll is still up on the EV Resource Patreon site, and I had asked you, are you satisfied with the public fast charging experience that you've had? So you have another week to head over there and vote, and make sure you leave a comment as well. And before I end the episode, I want to thank our Patreon supporters. Especially want to thank Rajeev Narayan at the director tier and Christopher Lawrence and Andy Cooper at the executive producer tier. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while and feel like I have earned your support, I would encourage you to go to the Patreon page and consider signing up. Tiers start at only $5 a month, and it really makes a difference when it all adds together to help with the costs of making and producing not only the podcast, but also the newsletter and magazine. So without that support, it would definitely make an impact on what I was able to do and probably limit what I was able to do. And if you don't feel quite up to contributing via Patreon and making that kind of commitment to it, there are a number of other things that you can do that don't cost any money to help my efforts here at EV Resource. Instead of mandatory membership fees or paywalls, I use affiliate connections and advertising to help keep this free, basically, for all of you. And it's going to be free. It'll always be free. I'm never going to charge for the podcast. So what I ask is, please consider supporting all of the sponsors and advertisers and affiliate connections that help make this possible. And I have a full listing of not only the organizations, but also a bunch of really cool deals and coupon codes. You can find all of that on the webpage, ev-resource.com/deals. I am also an Amazon affiliate and have a shop section on the webpage with a growing collection of products that I've found on Amazon that I think are valuable to EV owners or interesting or entertaining, including toys and books. So you can find that on the webpage under the shop section. If you have a comment, question, concern, or complaint, I encourage your feedback. You can send an email to me at hello@ev-resource.com. And that is it for this podcast. So thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you next week.